Here's the 6-armed Spidey from the Kingpin BAF wave, and the new one from the 2-pack with Morbius. This is going to be a fast comparison. But before I start, while looking for the image of the packaging of the Kingpin Wave 6-armed Spidey, I actually realized that the promotional picture of the packaging of that figure has the alternate hands. But when the figure came out, the alternate hands were not there. So I actually just found out when I'm making this video. I didn't know about this back then. So for this new figure, they finally gave those 2 pairs of hands. Here's the other fist and web shooting hands. And straight to the differences. The newer one has a slightly different shade of blue. I think it is slightly lighter, but the red is slightly darker. And of course, the main so-called upgrade is the mid-torso joint. Other than that, the articulation is all the same. The head sculpt is more or less the same. The sculpting of the web line on the torso is different. Here, it is really small and narrow, especially at the belt area and the abs area. For the newer one, the web lines are sculpted slightly bigger. The paintwork on the newer one at the torso is also better. It goes along the line, unlike the previous one, where you can see the red paintwork doesn't go along the line. I'm not sure whether it is just for my figure, but I think this is a common issue for the previous figure. The legs are exactly the same, and at the back, the logo is sculpted exactly the same, even though this is kind of a new torso. There's no serial number at the back of the thigh of the newer one, and you can see an obvious difference in the neck. You can see the newer one have the head sitting higher than the previous one. Having the pec circular in shape instead of semicircle makes the new head sit a bit higher. Look at the difference from the side. I think it definitely looks better having the head a bit higher. This one does kind of sit a bit low. And while we're at the side, another thing that they did improve is the bicep swivel joint. For the previous figure, the shoulder ball kind of narrows down too much before it joins up with the biceps. And you can see the top part of the bicep here. Same goes for the other side. You can see the top part of the bicep exposed at the swivel joint. But the newer one fixed that. The bicep joins up more smoothly to the shoulder ball. Same goes for the other side. So much better actually. So that's it for the differences in terms of appearance. For articulation, 2 main differences. Definitely the mid-torso joint, allowing articulation on the body, only this much. And of course, rotation. A bit of sideways, but the lower arms are blocking. And the second difference in articulation is the head. The new one is able to look up so much more than the previous version. Look at that. And that's because this head is sitting up higher on the neck than the previous one. In terms of looking down, it's about the same. And for comparison, here is Doppelganger, who is on the exact same body mold as this one. Almost everything is the same. The torso, the arms, the legs. Except that Doppelganger definitely have a different head, hands, and feet. It has the same problem having the bicep exposed over here, just like the previous 6-armed Spidey. And here's the back of the figures. And here's the original version of this body mold, the Amazing Spider-Man from the Ultimate Green Goblin BAF wave. The legs are a complete reuse. Same goes for the heads and the hands. But at the very least, they fixed the crotch. It doesn't have the big gap, unlike on this figure. And of course, this is the original figure, not having a really smooth transition between the shoulder ball and the biceps. And here's the back of the figure. This one has the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man logo instead of the comic version. This is really a unique Spider-Man body mold, but I'm actually kind of thankful they didn't reuse it again for any other Spideys, except for this one, I guess, that they did reuse parts of it. And yeah, since they did color in the web lines, I don't know why they simply didn't do it for the other two, especially for the new one, since it is supposed to be an upgrade over the previous version. Here's Renew Your Vows Spidey and Retro Spidey. Both of them are taller than the 6-armed Spideys. And here's the animated series cel-shaded Spidey and Pizza Spidey. Pizza Spidey is taller, but the cel-shaded Spidey is kind of the same height as the new 6-armed Spidey. And last but not least, here is my own custom of 6-armed Spidey using the bootleg Pizza Spidey. The figure and all the extra arms are all from bootleg Pizza Spidey from many years ago. Here's how the back looks like, and there's quite a few ways that people drill the arms for this custom. For me, I drilled one hole at the upper torso and another one at the lower torso just above the waist, but I think I've seen some people who drilled them in different positions. I think they have it this one a bit higher and this one also higher a bit. So yeah, it's really down to preference, but I think this one looks okay. And also, I added magnets at the bottom, so my custom 6-arm Spidey can stick to metal surface. Overall, the new 6-arm Spidey is kind of a slight upgrade over the previous one, but the fact that it comes with the 2-pack with Morbius is really a downside to most of us who have the Morbius figure. Because that Morbius figure is exactly the same, and at the price point, it's really kind of sucky to be buying it again. But the Spider-Man fan in me really just couldn't resist, so I did get the 2-pack. But if you're not willing to splash out retail cost to get this figure, I think it can probably last until it goes to sale. Thanks for watching. Do check out my Morbius review and other reviews at my channel.